Good morning.
Hey guys,
Hey everyone.
happy Sunday.
We are live. Just trying to figure this out.
Oh yeah.
Good morning everyone. How are you? Today we are doing a very special cast today. Oh, I'm surprised it did that. All right. Well, so let's see.
Well, our audio's working.
That's
I'm actually gonna hop
awesome.
up real quick and turn off that
That's great.
differential. It's a little loud.
That's awesome. I'm actually going to move over here. How are you guys today? So, this is a very special cast because today we are talking about the top 10 estate sale questions that we get asked from clients or from people that we work with. So, we wanted to share these with you so that you can share them with anyone you know that needs an estate sale, that might need an estate sale, that ever may need an estate sale. Just so that they know, what they're going into when they're working with an estate sale company. So we appreciate you joining us. Good morning, Karen. Matt Bullock is on here. Sarah Overs.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of other people watching that we can't see. So leave us a comment, and if we are able to see it, we will shout you out.
totally.
Thank you so much for being here. So, why do you think it's good to answer questions on a form like this?
So I think that for a lot of people, you never experience an estate sale unless you already knew to shop estate sales. I mean, for most of our clients, they're going to be first-time clients. It's one of those niche industries that sort of flies underneath the radar sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we're working really hard to make sure that we get like exposure so that everyone knows, you know, estate sales are an amazing place to buy furniture, housewares, clothes. Also, they're an amazing way to deal with transitions.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important that we get all that information out there because there's plenty of people that don't know about estate sales.
That's true. That's true. We always talk a lot about people that, don't come to our estate sales because they don't know they exist.
They don't realize that they're open to the public.
Yeah, and then the same thing about clients who just don't know that it's an option.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea. So the first question that we get, how about I answer one, you answer one, we'll go back and forth.
Cool.
Do you want to do the first one?
Sure.
Awesome. I'll ask you.
Okay.
And then you can ask
We'll
me
do
the
that in
second
that
one.
format. Yes.
Yeah. All right, number one. How long does it take to hold an estate sale?
So, in my experience with Aaron's estate sales, it takes us to hold an estate sale. We usually get on the Monday to set up. We set up within the first day, day and a half. Then we conduct the estate sale over that following weekend. So really, we can get the keys, get in, set up, price, conduct the sale within a week's time frame, and then you add on clean out into that.
Yeah.
So it can happen. The process can happen pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, so I agree. Yeah, 1 week from start to finish. We get it on Monday, have the sale that weekend, clean it out the week after that, and it's done.
Yeah, like for our sale that we had this week
Yeah.
in Bloomfield, we actually got in there on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Conducted.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep, conducted because it was not like it was a larger house, but not a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
So we just worked the team really fast and smart. Conducted that sale over the course of 2 days. The cleanup crew is already in there. The sale closed yesterday
That's
with the
awesome.
selling of a baby grand piano
Yes.
at 3:59 p.m.
Right as we're closing.
Yeah, making me sweat
Yeah.
on the other side of the square system.
Yeah.
And yeah, our cleanup crew's in there at 5 p.m. I got a message last night at 10. Hey, we're closing up for the night. We'll be back in the morning to finish up.
Yeah.
So in that situation,
We can hand over keys right there, like right on Monday. So essentially, it really can be a 7-day process from start to finish. Get in on Monday, or for this case, Wednesday. Do the sale Saturday, Sunday. Was Saturday, Sunday? No,
it's
Friday,
Friday,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, and then have it cleaned out by Sunday night, which is amazing. So, and then keys are handed over, the whole transaction can close out, and it's ready for its next step.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's killer.
No, we definitely do I like to sit with that 2 weeks, including the timeout or including clean out,
Yeah,
just to be safe. Because especially too, if you have a larger estate,
yeah.
it can take a couple of days. But our cleanup crew that we work with is just amazing.
They're crazy, incredible. They just get it done, and I walk in sometimes. I'm like, the sale just closed, and it's already cleaned out. And then some people don't hire us to do the clean out, so at that point, the state sale can be a week.
Yep.
They don't, it can be that Monday through that Sunday, and have it done. So Absolutely. We don't waste any time.
Yeah, the time frame, the thought that you have to block out a month or a couple, no, not at all.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
give
crazy.
give us 1 week.
Yeah.
We can have 2 weeks if you want the clean out. We'll have it all
Yeah.
taken care of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's our next question?
So our next question that I'm going to pose to you is,
Yes.
you got the easy one, man.
What is it?
What should we throw out?
Okay, yeah, true that. So, so I hear this time and time again. Every single estate sale company says, "Don't throw anything away." And sorry if that was really loud, but they really go crazy about this. Don't throw anything away. Don't throw anything away. You're going to throw out treasures. You're going to throw out trash. And I think that comes from a scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that comes from, oh, there's not enough stuff out there, and I'm not doing enough sales. I'm not getting enough stuff, so I don't want you to throw anything away, because if you throw out $5 or $10, like, it's going to ruin our estate sale or something.
Yeah.
And I don't really personally agree with that. I think that you should throw away what you feel you have to throw away, and nothing more than that. So if there's trash, go ahead and get rid of it. If there's paperwork that is family papers and stuff like that, get it out of there.
Yeah.
You know, if there's magazines that have no great subject matter, and what I mean by that is that if they are vintage train magazines, vintage airplane magazines, vintage car magazines, all of those things are things that you'll want to keep from like pre-1980 or pre-1970. But if there's a bunch of car magazines from 1995 or 2005, go ahead, get rid of them. Recycle, of course.
Yes.
But I think you should throw away. Some people just need to they need to clean up.
It's part of the cathartic
Yeah.
aspect of it. It's part of
Yeah.
that cleansing.
And then they get hit by an estate sale company, don't throw anything away. And it's like, geez, it's like, relax.
Well, and it probably freaks them out too,
Yeah.
because now they've got it spinning in their mind. Like, I was just throwing out expired food, old
Yeah.
check stubs, stuff like that. Now they're like, what was in there that I wasn't supposed to throw out?
Yeah. Yeah, it's silly.
It's okay.
That's a huge thing in my mind. I'm actually glad I got this question. Because I got hit with it the other day. I was on a walkthrough, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I threw a bunch of stuff out. Everyone's, all the other people I talked to told me to not throw anything out. She's like, keeps going. I'm like, hey, I actually don't agree with that. Like, I actually have a different viewpoint on it. I think you should throw whatever you want out. It's your stuff.
Yeah.
It's your stuff. But we also want enough for an estate sale, and we also want to make sure that we can bring you the most value possible. And also, we will do it for you if you don't want to throw anything else away.
One of the things that I find that when we go on appointments, clothing. There is value in clothing
Yeah.
if it's left in the closets where it's at.
Yeah, that's a
one of
good
the
point.
things. Like, because we've walked into several sales where people are like, well, we got all this stuff, we've got a bunch of clothes bagged up out in the garage, we're just going to donate them.
Yeah.
There is value in clothing, but
Right.
when you start to bag it up,
Yeah.
then you add in labor to get it back out and
Yeah.
displayed.
And then it becomes not worth it. It's not worth the $2 or $4 or $6. It was worth it in the closet because there might be a $10 dress or a $50 dress or different vintage pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, once it's bagged up, I know companies that say, well, if you bagged it up, just let's get rid of it. It's not worth having someone put it all back on hangers. Sometimes the family does that, and sometimes there are situations, like that Bloomfield Hills sale
Yeah.
that we did go through all those boxes and bags that were in the garage and
But-
what was in there.
So it was like Givenchy from like the 1960s,
Yeah,
a lot
yeah, it
of
was
Emilio
cool.
Pucci, like
Right.
it was good.
It was good stuff.
It was worth, but even then,
It still was very laborious.
it was that was one of my jobs, which I
Yeah.
now realize as I'm thinking about it was just
Yeah, it was a lot.
a lot.
But so don't throw anything away. Throw out what you want to. Throw out what is trash. What is honest trash. Throw it away.
Yeah.
Feel free. And just don't throw out anything that could be resold. Anything that has been purchased before will be purchased again. That's my rule. Is anything that has been purchased, someone else will purchase.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely pulled out $1,000 pair of jeans out of the trash. I've definitely pulled out things out of the trash. But it doesn't make enough sense for us to sit here and yell at you saying don't throw anything away.
Yeah. I love that rule of
Yeah.
if you spend money on it before, someone will spend money on it again.
Yeah.
I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, let's go on to our next question. Question number 3. Should we donate anything first, Shannon? And this is sort of goes into the other question that we just had.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that?
I would say no, because if it has enough value to where a thrift store could resell it,
Yeah.
then we could also resell it as well.
Exactly. So if something's being donated, it's usually being donated so that somebody else can resell it, make the money on it, and then use it for their cause.
Yeah.
The my rule
Yeah.
on that is that we'll donate everything at the end that
Yeah.
doesn't sell.
Yep, let's see if we can get some money for the estate, get some money for whatever you want it for, get it
Yeah.
to people that are going to be an end user on that, and then, yeah, donate afterwards.
Donate it all afterwards here. Instead of you taking little trash bags to the Salvation Army 5 times a week,
That's the other thing, is
Yeah.
that you hire in a company to alleviate the stress, the extra work, all of those things.
Yeah.
If you're making trips back and forth,
It's
Let-
silly.
let us do your work for you, please.
Absolutely, because there is those things that we will find that will have value that could be just given away. You could have accidentally just given it away, and we obviously our job is to preserve the wealth of that legacy, to preserve any wealth that's in that home. That's our job. So we want to make sure that we're doing that first, and then everything can be donated at the end. And we can go through the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Cool. All right.
We have a special treat for you guys at the end, by the way, after these questions.
It's
Yep.
cupcakes.
It's not,
It's not cupcakes.
Could be cupcakes. You never know. We'll just throw them at the camera.
I feel like there's a stream for that somewhere.
There
There's definitely a market for it. I don't know if I want to meet that market, but
Me neither.
all right. So number 4 question is going to be, what should we do to prepare for an estate sale?
That's a good question. So a lot of people, when they're asking, after we go out, like, what do I have to do?
Mhm.
Because we tell them we'll do everything for you.
Yeah.
And people always ask me after we sign a contract or when we're getting to the process of what all do I have to do to be ready? And it's really simple. Basically, the only thing that a client has to do, besides removing personal belongings like personal paperwork and things like that,
Yeah.
is just get the items out that they're keeping.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else can be left exactly where it is. They don't have to do anything. Sometimes what people will do, or what we'll instruct people to do, is go through your closets, cupboards, take out all the pieces that you're keeping, box them up, ship them away, put a sticky note saying done on that cabinet. Done,
Yeah.
done, done. Go through the whole house like that. And then you can leave it exactly how it is. Our team is crazy incredible. That Rochester house we did this week was left just like that. He
Yeah.
was definitely, and it was beautiful stuff. It is beautiful stuff that is still going on today from 9 to 4 or
Yeah.
12 to 4.
12 to 4.
I'm sorry.
If you get
From
there at
12 to
9, you're
4.
going to be definitely number 1 in line.
If you get there at 9, that was 26 minutes ago, so don't do that. So, but that house was left to us in a condition that needed the whole setup, the whole deal, everything, and frankly, the gentleman just doesn't have time to do all that work.
Yeah.
And so that's why we are here. That is literally our job: is to organize, stage, display, price, advertise, do the whole deal.
Yeah.
So all you have to do to prepare for an estate sale is remove the items that are not for sale. Remove the items that you're keeping, and then everything else we will take care of.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me ask you this question. I was going to bring a pamphlet so that we can give it exact.
Oh, yeah.
But what is our process? What is our estate sale process from start to finish?
So our process first, I guess on our end, we market and put our name out there, because if people don't know you, they cannot flow you.
That is true.
And so that's our first start of the process.
Yeah.
Nobody really gets to see that until you get a mailer in the mail or see our street signs out.
Yeah.
And so we receive a call in based on those, like, people knowing about us and about our industry. We receive a call in through our call line, which is going to be 248-915-8888 if anybody needs an estate sale.
Absolutely.
Karen answers the phones. She gets a little bit of information about your situation, and then she schedules a consultation for Aaron to come out.
Yes.
And so Aaron will come out, survey, figure out what would be the best fit for your house,
Yeah.
propose a contract. Once you go through reading through that contract, agree to it, sign it in, that starts our essentially our pipeline process
Yeah.
of getting that sale scheduled. The sale goes up on our main calendar. It gets the marketing actually gets started then by posting it, and then after that trying to think about the timeline from.
Yeah.
So because I think it's important to put in there when they want to call too, like whether there's closing on the table,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, so essentially when I go on the appointment, I'll address that. I'll say, do you have a closing date? Is the house for sale? Is it going to be listed? Whatever stage that they're at. Are they moving? Are they downsizing? Are they not listing? Are they giving it to someone? Like, there's all different situations. So we'll go through those, and then we'll put an access date on the contract. and then an actual estate sale date. So access will be the time length that we have access to the home, and sometimes that changes depending on what situation it is. Once that contract is signed, either by me in person or sending it, through Sign Now. We use a electronic platform, which you can also sign through. Once it hits the desk or the in basket of our office, it goes through a whole cycle at that point, that contract. And so the first thing that happens is it gets posted, all the advertisements get posted for it. Next thing that happens, all the staff get scheduled for it. Next thing that happens is
my scope appointment.
Yeah,
So-
the scope appointment gets scheduled at that point.
Yeah, and the
what is
scope
that?
appointment is, so just to introduce myself again, I'm the production division director.
Yeah.
And so what that means is that I oversee all the estate sales, make sure that they're run just absolutely beautifully, perfectly. So with that, it's important for me to go in to get an idea of the job, because we communicate a ton, and we communicate really, really well,
Yeah.
but it's important to have multiple sets of eyes
Yeah.
on that job site. So I go out there, meet with the client, see if there's any questions that they have that are that have popped up or
Yeah.
have been unresolved, make sure that those are all followed, do a handoff of the keys, and then I actually do a full Google form that gets me every little bit of information that I need to know about that house.
Yeah.
Because you can live in your estate for, X amount of years. There's gonna be little intricacies about your house that somebody coming in for a week
And we
needs to know.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know if that handrail's shaky. I need to know if, Granny
Park-
kept a gun.
yeah,
Like, there's
yeah.
a lot of stuff that I need to have
need
for.
to know if there's neighbor problems, or if there's anybody that could come in, or if there's all parking issues, or trash day, or
Yeah.
all these things.
There's a ton of little bits of information. If they're gonna do the snow clearance, or if we're gonna do the snow clearance,
Yeah.
there's a ton of little things that need to be known on that. So I make sure that they have all their information that they need. I make sure that I have all the information that I need, and then the scope usually happens a week before.
And that's usually where we actually get a key, put a lockbox on the door, and we get full access at that point from the scope.
Yep.
So what happens, let's say, all right, so we've gotten through the contract, or actually the advertising, which was great, all the way up through initial phone call, initial consultation, contract signing, scope appointment, all the things that we do in the office to get everything running and gunning. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Our team is set to arrive at 9 a.m. What happens at that point?
So at that point, we get in as a full cohesive unit. I take the team around. First, we do a walkthrough of the house. I give them an idea of what needs to move where we're going to set up cash out at. That's actually one of the hardest things, is figuring out how to install essentially a retail operation within your house.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you have to have it big enough, because if you don't have space for holding, if you don't have space for bagging, if you don't have space, and some houses they got a lot of stuff in them, even big houses,
Oh yeah.
and it ends up being a work of magic. I would
Yes.
say.
Because you also don't want to. You want to keep your living room as staged as possible, because that's going to give that livable space and that beautiful marketing.
Right.
And there's a lot of things to keep in mind when you're doing the setup. So we basically walk around, figure out where everything needs to go.
Yeah.
Then we work cohesively as a unit to set up each room by room by room by room. And each house is going to be a little different as to the flow of how we do it. Some houses have got tons of stuff in the basement,
Yeah.
but not a ton of stuff upstairs. So you want to get the rooms upstairs set up a little bit so that you know what spaces you've got to bring stuff up and populate.
Yeah.
Some houses have got, gobs of jewelry. Make sure that all of that goes to one central location at your cash out. And then I personally will go through all of it. Then you'll personally go through all of it.
Yeah. Do like double, triple checks on different things.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge part of the process too. Like once the staff have everything staged, then they go through and do the photography, which is also Shannon at this point. And she'll do 200 to 300 photos of the entire home, just to really communicate to advertising. That gets sent off to the office in different locations, so that different people put the advertising in different places, and then they'll start pricing everything in the home.
Yes.
They'll go through systematically from one end of the home to all around, circling all throughout the house, pricing every single item in that house. Now, how does that work? Which ways do you price, would you say?
So we'll start off the most base.
Yeah.
So we've got some things that fall under like range pricing,
Yeah.
like some of your kitchen items.
Yeah.
Now as you're going through your kitchen, glasses are typically always going to be between $1 and $3, unless you find a Riddell wine glass,
Yeah.
unless you find Waterford stemware.
Yeah.
You're looking for Le Creuset, All-Clad, OXO for your utensils. You price those things up just slightly. A lot of things when you're doing this for this long, you get to know, especially pricing 3 houses a week.
Yeah.
You'll find the same OXO flipper every single house.
And then you'll sell it at every different place and get to know what people are willing to pay for it and what they're not willing to pay for it.
Yeah, and so that's like one of your base. So you've got your ranges, you've got the things you already know fair market value for. Then you get into specials and collectibles, where you need to do some market research on that.
Yep.
And you're going through eBay, you're going through WorthPoint. There's several different applications you can go through to try and find these things. Live auctioneers, former
Yeah.
like past results.
Yeah, we
There's
even-
a ton of different ways.
Yeah, there's a subscription that we have for art that's like, it's crazy. You only get 10 searches for $50 a month, and that's it. And so, but we want to make sure that we can actually find the pieces that you have and price them accordingly. So there's a ton. I was gonna say something. I was gonna
Good
say.
save.
I know, right? There is a ton. There is a ton of different resources that we use for pricing.
And when we get into like real specialty things, I mean, we've got panels of experts that
Yeah.
we can reach out to as well. Luckily, we've got, I mean, after doing this for so many years
Yeah.
and having appraisal background,
Yeah.
like we've got a pretty good handle on it. But the whole thing with our service mindset is like, if we don't know it, it's our job to find out.
Yeah.
Nothing goes unknown.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you price everything in the home, you do the setup, you do the staging, you do the advertising, your team walks out of the house and it's done.
Mhm.
What's the next step?
So at this point, have we
No.
quality control?
We are not.
All right, so the team walks out, it's all done, they've done their setup checklist, and those setup checklists have got things down to like underneath beds have been checked.
Yeah, dishwashers have been checked.
Yeah. So then Erin and I will go in and we will quality control check the house. We take that setup checklist and we go through and we rectify it against a quality control checklist and make sure that everything is done to a T so that everything is priced right and so that when that team comes in there to open up a sale, it's zero stress because the sale is perfect.
Yeah, and this is sort of the idea of like getting a McDonald's cheeseburger in Detroit or in Tokyo, is that we want to make sure that every job is handled the same, and that's why we have the setup or the quality control checklist. And that's why we do it together, is so that we know that that job is done to a T every single time, and that every single job we do is like that,
Yeah.
so that we can provide the same quality and service consistently without a challenge. And that's why we have processes. That's why you hire us, is because we have the systems and processes in place where we do things exactly the same every single week, and to ensure success.
Mhm.
And we do have some massive success with these estate sales.
Oh gosh.
So we do. Good job, you guys are killing it this week.
Thank you.
It's incredible to see what happened the first few days between yesterday and what'll happen today. Is going to be super great. But I was going to ask. So you do set up. You do the quality control. Then what?
And now we're at the sales days. So our team, I think we sort of skipped over this when we said like the team comes in at 9.
Yeah.
The team comes into the office at 9 and they get pumped up.
Yeah.
It's basically getting everybody their mindsets on the mindset of service and that
Yeah.
work is separate from all the other stuff that's going on in life.
Yeah.
And so they come in before their sales day. They get amped up. They get psyched up. We do a little training with them. Then they come off to the sale
Yeah.
where I've usually already got the signs are all put out, the lights are on, music's playing,
Yeah.
and then they get into just selling over the course of 2 to 3 days, selling out the contents of that house.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it, from making sure that the street signs are where they're supposed to be so that the city doesn't get upset or neighbors don't get upset.
Yeah.
To making sure that you've got the correct flow of traffic. There's so much that goes into the sales days, but we also hear back too that it's some of our staff's like favorite days.
Oh, absolutely. The sales days are wild. We get to interact with the customers. We really, 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 that's a good question. We really, on the sale, like one of our biggest value adds as a company is our sales training that we do with our staff. I would say that most, and I'm not trying to dog estate sale companies, but I would say most estate sale companies have friends, have a light staff, have people that they use to help out when they have big sales. And instead of that, like sitting at the cash out on your phone or sitting upstairs, like relaxing, our team are sales professionals
Yeah.
that walk into that job in order to sell out, to do right by that client, to do right by those customers. Because same thing, it's not just about the clients making as much money as possible. It's that if a customer comes in and they don't purchase anything, then we did not add value to their day. We did not add value to those customers. We have to make sure that they are purchasing items for sure.
Yeah.
You want to answer this question really fast, or do you want to? Let's finish our process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll get
so
into that.
they're on So they're all on day, what is it, day 3 now, day 4 for Rochester of all the places that they've sold at now.
Yeah.
All the sales days. We're on to now a blowout,
A blowout day.
which is
Oh, yeah,
a
yeah,
shortened
yeah.
day.
Right.
So we've got our standard sales days, then we offer the option as well that if you want to try and clear more items out of your house, that we can offer a blowout.
Yeah.
Which basically means that we're going to sell stuff at 75% off, get it cleared out, you know,
Move that product.
move that product. If you ever hear during your estate sale, oh, things are expensive,
Yeah.
you can always bargain down, you can never bargain back up.
That's right.
And the reason that we do a cascading discount structure is so that those price points were fit for every single customer.
Yeah.
It's actually more fair to do it that way because everybody gets stuff at the price point at which they're willing to pay in advocacy of that client.
Exactly. That's
Which I
a
really
great
love.
way to put it.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So we do the blowout, we do the sale, we do the blowout, we end the sale, it's done. All the the finance, accounting stuff goes back to the office, and they start working on that on Monday morning.
Mhm.
What happens with cleaning out the home if we're doing a clean out?
Yeah, so the cleanup falls underneath production services or underneath production division, so we make sure that that's scheduled according to the timeline that the homeowner wants it.
Yeah.
The cleanup crew gets in there. It's not required that anybody's in there with them. It's all very, like, they do this like 3 sales a week. They're very, very good about getting that house ready to be handover ready to the next homeowner.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just get through there, donate whatever can be donated. Unfortunately, nobody likes to see stuff go to the landfill, but there are going to be some things that the donation company doesn't take, cause it's up to their discretion,
Yeah.
not ours.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so they go through there, work systematically as well, and then floors are swept, carpets vacuumed. I think if there's any extra services that they'd want, we can usually accommodate that as well, like cleaning out cupboards and stuff like that.
Absolutely, like tearing up carpet or other things that are needed to get the house ready for its next step. Yeah, just after that, everything goes back to the office. All the accounting gets done. Everything gets handled. It gets sent out to our clients within 15 days after the close of the estate sale, and then we move on to the next step. The next sale, and so that whole thing, that Monday after the sale, our clients get a call. Here's what happened. Here's what happened in your home. Here's like our preliminary numbers. And then on Wednesdays is when we do all of our accounting.
Yeah.
So that gets finalized, sent out to them every Wednesday. So that's our process.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was kind of fun to walk all the way through because like Erin handles certain parts of the process, I handle certain parts of the process. It's fun to see it all lined up because it's an intricate, well-oiled machine.
Absolutely. What is our next question? Number 6.
We almost got that there. How do you discount throughout the sale?
I know, right? You said cascading discount that is, what did you say, in favor, or what was the?
It fits every single customer,
Yes.
but in advocacy of the client.
Advocacy of the client. So we start off full price. We start off as high as we can justify an item. So if we see the item selling for $2,000 on eBay plus $150 shipping, consistently we're going to try to push it as high, as close to that number as possible,
Mhm.
with still being reasonable for an estate sale. And so we definitely do that. That's how we start the pricing.
Mhm.
Is the highest we can justify. So because we have to be able to get the most value out of the home, because we're not just helping a client, we're paying for our staff, we're paying for our insurance, we're helping that client, we're helping people buy items that they need. This is a whole cycle.
Yeah.
And so through that, the first day is full price, the second day is discounted, the third day is discounted if there's a third day. That discount on each day is determined at the end of each day, usually by Shannon, sometimes along with clients, but usually it's, first day is full price, second day is 30% off, last day is 50% off. Some day we'll do 40, we'll do 25% off and then a 40% off.
Yeah.
It just depends on the situation because every house is different. And sometimes the last day will be 65% off because we need to move the product.
Yeah.
And then we'll also do another blowout at 75% off. Someday our blowouts are 65% off. It just depends on each house is different. So we definitely, that is how we discount throughout the sale. Every estate sale company discounts in some way. And so you have to discount throughout. You have to clear out. We have 3 days to empty this house, to liquidate the contents and get as much as possible. There's also items that we will put no discount on and say make an offer. So if there's really high-end handbags, if there's really high-end jewelry, if there's really specialty pieces, a specialty watch, a car, things like that.
Large pianos.
Large pianos. We won't necessarily do the discount. We'll do a, hey, this is what we have it priced, or you can make an offer, and then we will review all the offers at the end of the sale.
Mhm.
The next question is, how long will the sale be?
So the sale will be, most sales are gonna be 2 days.
Yes.
Some of them go 3 days. Some of them go 4. 4, I'd say,
Yeah.
like the Rochester one that we're doing. The reason that got a 4-day is because it's a, would you say like 3,000 square foot,
Probably 35.
3,500 square foot house,
And it's
full
full.
basement, and it's full,
Yeah.
and it needs that amount
Needs
of
the
time.
extra push.
Yeah. Whereas St.
Absolutely.
Clair Shores is a little bit smaller, but
Yeah.
we're gonna get that extra day out of it.
And then some sales we did a sale a couple like last week that was 1 day.
Yep.
It was a 1 day sale. And so our average estate sale is 2 days. We do a lot of 3 day sales. Usually, if a sale goes over $20,000 or is around that range when we're looking at it, we'll do a 3 day on it. It just depends on each situation is different, but that's really the answer
Yeah.
to it. Cool.
And it's one of those things that you assess when you're out on that first consult. You're
Yeah.
already figuring out the best, like, it's kind of like being a football coach. Because you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out what plays you're going to make for each individual house.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want to make sure that we get the most value for that client. That's the only decisions that we're trying to make as we're going through that process is what is going to make this client the most money possible, and then what is going to get them their product. Because everybody they hire us to make money,
Yeah.
and so we have to make them money. And then we help them donate and get the tax write-off, or we help them it's a sales process from the start to finish, and so yeah, we'll make those decisions. Do you want to ask me the next one?
Sure.
And then we'll ask the last one, number 9, because we don't really have 10 questions, but this is number 8, and then we'll answer 9 together.
Cool. What will it cost for you to do my estate sale?
It will cost
$1
everything.
million.
No, just kidding. So basically, what it'll cost to do an estate sale just depends on a few different factors. First factor is how much there is in the home, how the quantity, and also the amount of work that it's going to take to get that quantity set up and displayed and priced and advertised, and then also the value of that quantity.
Yeah.
So it's going, depending on what the value of each piece is, how much value there is as a whole, and then how much there is of that value, and then how much it's going to take to actually get it through the process.
Yeah.
Our average setup takes about a day and a half. We've done setups that have taken 2 weeks, every single day. And it just costs a different amount to do those jobs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it costs a different amount to have 10 people in the house doing the estate sale rather than 3 in a smaller house with less, you know.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when you need 10 people on an estate sale, the value is worth it
Yeah.
because there's so many incredible pieces that you really need that. And we're working on a job right now, and we've been working on it for about a year getting it, and that will be a sale that needs 10 to 15 staff, and it's going to need a whole week setup, and it's going to need advertising, it's going to need news coverage, it's going to need media, it's going to need all these different factors, so the cost has to reflect that, and it has to change. Our commission structure is on par with a lot of other companies, and we start off at one rate, and then it, you know, from basically we take like 50% of the first 10,000 that a sale makes, and then once it goes to 10, we take 40% of 10 to 25 for the next 15,000. Then once the sale hits 25,000 gross sales, goes to 40% or 35%. So it just depends, but some sales will work, hey, we're just going to do just this commission.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to do the scale. There's a job I'm working for in Rochester that's like, yeah, I know what we can do for this house. I know what this result is going to look like. I know how much this sale is going to make. I'm confident in it, so we will just do it at this rate.
Yeah.
And there will be, you know, and that's how we charge. We charge a commission, and then we also charge a couple little small fees like a credit card fee, and then we'll also help with the clean out, which is a separate service that you can add on or not add on. And the real what it will cost to do the estate sale is not the real question that you should know how much it costs to do an estate sale, but you should be looking at what am I getting for this cost? What is the actual value of the service that I'm buying? There's a ton of different viewpoints on that, but The reality is that to execute on an estate sale properly, and we've seen what happens when you actually do all these steps of the process correctly. You get the right staff in there, they do the setup correctly, they run the sale correctly. The changeover from having regular just staff to sales training staff,
It's a totally different ballgame.
I mean, we should be charging 10 times more. Like that one value alone of having sales, a sales organization that's going into your home to sell, not just to open it up and let people come in and hopefully they buy some stuff.
Yeah.
Like no, it is our responsibility to have our staff sell every single thing as much as possible in that home. So just those systems and processes that go into it determine, you know, what the value or what the outcome is going to be. And that's what we have to educate and show people. And if they come to our sales, they see it. The people that do come to our sales, they see it. It's a very, very clear difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I've definitely signed contracts, even recently within the past week and a half, where we were double the price and had a setup fee and these other fees of another estate sale company that they were going to hire because this other company was cheaper. And then they really started digging in and looking at the difference between the companies, and they fired this one company and hired us at double the price because they know that they need to get that job done correctly. They have, you only get one chance to do an estate sale. You can't just like have someone do your estate sale, they don't do a great job, and then hope that someone else is going to, like, no one else can do it.
Well, we've seen that actually happen a couple times where we've gotten called in on a sale where it hasn't been run properly. We've had friends that have gotten called in on sale. You don't want that. You just want to make it not a thing.
Yeah. You just want to make sure that who you're hiring is going to handle it correctly, execute on that contract perfectly to get you your result.
Yeah.
So I have a friend, Bob Howe. He's an auctioneer in the middle of the state. And he once, you know, was on a job with me. I signed a contract. It was way back in the day when I first started. It was about a $75,000 estate sale. But it was going to take a month of work to do this estate sale. And he was like, you're going to pay them 45%. You're going to pay this, this, and this. And he's like, I don't know. Like, that sounds like too much money. And he's like, listen, to get the value out of this home, you're going to, you know, do you want to pay someone 45% of $70,000, or would you rather pay someone 35% of $20,000?
That's it right there.
That's crazy to me, and that's when I see you with your team do what you're doing, like this weekend, last weekend, the weekend, but like for the last probably year, like what you've been able to produce in that sales team. I'm like, I can't believe, like, probably the services or what people are getting. Like, it's incredible to see the money that you're able to turn out of these houses, how fast, and get these sales staff to actually, like,
well,
I can't stress it enough.
Our two-phase sale that we're doing, that's like, I'm insanely proud of that because I went on the appointment with you for the second consult, and just to see someone who wanted to use us so badly, and you could see the gears turning where they're trying to justify to themselves spending that extra little bit of money. I know that look. I use that look all the time. I'm constantly trying to justify to myself, like, Shannon, yes, buy the better thing because it will last you in the long run. It'll get you more ROI. He's sitting there and I'm like, it's my job to make sure that he goes with me because I know exactly how I'm going to execute on this. I know exactly that I'm going to get it done right. And so it was really cool to not only know that I'm going to do the best job, but also to be able to do the sale on it, to assure them that yes, we are going to hit these figures. We're going to get it cleared out faster. I'm going to be able to move it up sooner so you can get your house listed in the time, like, before spring. Like, it's
that's incredible. I mean, that whole situation, I agree. Like, just to reiterate it, we're sitting there with a client on a consult, and we are more expensive than, you know, we actually interviewed with them a year ago when they first started this process.
And we're more expensive now than we were a year ago.
Yeah, and it's not like crazy. We're not like ridiculously expensive, but it's just different. It's more expensive. We offer different services than most people, and so it definitely, you know, it's cost more. In terms of like the percentage, it doesn't cost more in terms of value or in terms of what you're going to get. But so they're sitting there trying to make sense of the money. And when you can make sense of the money, you buy something. When you can't make sense of it, you don't buy something. So it's our job to make sure that they make sense of it. So we made sure that we signed that job. We did sign that job. We quoted them what they were going to make from that estate sale, or what the gross was. And I honestly thought what we quoted them was a strong number. I was like, if we can hit this for them,
Mhm.
then we will have their product. We'll have to work super hard to do it.
Yeah.
And we'll have to put all of our, efforts and strengths and everything into making sure we hit this number.
Yeah.
And then we just blew that number out of the water. And I was just like, how did we do that? Like, that was insane. Like, we not only, so we still have a whole second sale that we're doing for them. And we exceeded the whole number, the whole sales goal.
The sales goal we hit on the first phase.
Yeah, the
we
first
still have a
phase.
whole nother sale to go.
Yeah.
We've got, everyone is so freaking excited because we put up signs every single place around this
Yeah.
house. You want more? There's gonna be more.
Yeah.
Then we added on a sale kitty corner across the street for the second phase as well. It's
Yeah.
just, which anytime you can get sales right down the street from each other, you're just
Yeah.
bouncing traffic back and forth, and it's a
Right.
perfect scenario.
Yeah, and so that goes into the fact of over promising because you're going to over deliver,
Mhm.
not under promising and then over deliver. I actually was I thought we were over promising by
Mhm.
saying this sale's going to make this much. And I was like, well, I know that I can promise this because I'm going to deliver it.
Yeah.
And then we exceeded it, and then we'll exceed it even more, and we'll just blow it out of the water, and then we'll clean out the home, and we'll make it so that that client just has no stress about
Yeah.
it. He's going to be completely taken care of, and that is my goal: is that he can be there at the end of that process and be saying, "Wow, this ended up costing me more than it would have with
Mhm.
another estate sale company, but I made 5 times as much money than I would have with any other company." Use Aaron's estate sales,
Yeah.
and that's my goal with every single client, and we're hitting that over and over and over again.
I want for him to walk into that house the next time because, he hasn't
Yeah.
been over there, I think, since
Yeah, he's
since
out
the
of
sale.
state.
So I want him to walk in, open that door, and just have all of that stress and weight of the stuff that
Yeah,
was encumbering them
gone.
gone. Just open up the
Gone.
doors and be like, oh, okay, we're on to the next step yet.
Yeah.
That's because that was my experience when I used the process as well,
Yeah.
use the service. Walking in after my sale was completed to the clean out being done, and I scheduled the house stagers to come in at the same time.
Yeah,
It was like, oh, wait, this whole thing that I was worried about my move, about how the house was going to look, how it
it's
was
gone.
gone.
It's
It's
gone.
amazing because you're always wondering where is that light at the end of the tunnel. We
Yeah.
get to give the light.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you got a check to go along with it, and it was just completely ease free. So I agree. You still have a $12 check or something from last year that you haven't cashed yet, by the way. Just wasn't gonna tell you
Dividends.
anything. Yeah, exactly. Just letting you know.
No, thinking.
Yeah, so that's what it'll cost. It'll cost the correct amount to actually get it done successfully, and you won't overpay. You will be overserviced, and that sale will be handled correctly. So why are you more expensive than other companies? / why would we choose you over another company? And I know that we just talked about the whole expense thing, so let's not go into that. Why would we choose you over other companies? Shannon, Aaron, Safirsky, Shannon Smiths.
I think one of the big things is just off of just from a business standpoint,
Yeah,
licensed, bonded, insured.
sure,
That's one big part.
sure,
You
sure.
want to make sure the people that are working in your house are
Licensed,
insured. You want to make sure that your
Yeah,
ducks
yeah.
are in a row and your butt's covered.
That's actually a great point. That's something that we'll go into on the second half of this video, which we're going to bang through this one so that we can get to the exciting gift at the end. But yeah, there's so many people don't really realize what the correct insurance is, so they don't really realize that regular if a company says, yeah, we have an insurance policy, that doesn't necessarily cover their workers. If their worker gets hurt and and if somebody falls down the stairs carrying a piano or a sofa, that insurance doesn't cover that. So you need workman's comp. You need to make sure that company has the correct ducks, and not enough people look at that. We bring it with us to every consult that we do to show people that just so they can have it on file even, and they don't look enough into that when we show it to them. It's just a whole different world. So
Yeah.
that's a huge thing. I would go to say that professionalism
Yes.
and also the sales aspect. Yes, you will be sold a great service. Yes, you will be sold and you will be signing that contract and you'll be like, wow, this is the right decision.
Mhm.
And then it's our job to make sure that you feel that at the end. It's our responsibility to make sure that at the end you're like, wow, this was also handled very professionally, and I got the result I wanted. That's really the key. Is like they just want the result.
Yeah.
They're just trying to figure out who's going to get them the best result, and that's going to be us. And the sales staff
Mm-hmm.
is another huge point why you would hire us.
Yes.
Go to an estate sale. Go to a bunch of estate sales. Come to ours. Our staff are there to serve and to service you and to service our customers. So the value there is huge.
I mean, we got how many Square reviews over
This
the
past week.
Yeah,
Like
that are just
8.
like, you guys are super professional. Then we get like the whole thing of
Yeah.
like, you guys
You
are,
got your phone?
yeah, you guys are expensive, but they helped me out to the car. I'm a senior, so I needed that extra help. Let me see where it was.
Sent them to the message too.
Okay.
Aaron's estate sales. But yeah, we consistently are getting these reviews because we are there. If we can service you, you'll buy. If we can help you get something in your car, we know you'll buy. If we can help you understand what the thing is that you're looking at, we know that you'll buy. And that's our goal, is to liquidate a home. So how do you do that if you don't have sales staff that are actually sales trained?
Yeah.
So what are some of the reviews we got this past
So
week?
first one is professional staff. Good job, staff.
Are these people, do you have names or no?
No.
All right, cool.
No. Then I've got one that is prices were a little on the high side for the furniture, but besides that, great selection and nice quality. And the extra help to put items in my car was a plus. I am a senior, so thank you.
Awesome.
That was awesome. It was cute. I ran into them when I was coming up to hotspot their device
Yeah.
and see how the sale was going. And this lady was like, she was a trip. She was so funny.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you got some awesome items there." She's like, "Well, I'm so appreciative that you stopped in just to tell me that." And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, she was super cute. Another one is the staff was so professional and kind. Another one was very nice. And then I appreciate the help provided when I purchased the Seth Thomas pillar and scroll shelf clock. The clock was missing a drive weight, but I returned to the sale and the person running the sale helped me find the missing weight and reunite it with the 200-year-old clock. That is
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
So,
Cool. That's awesome. Why choose us over other companies? Have us out and see. Have us out, and we'll just give you our professional opinion on your job and on what your situation is and how we might be able to help. And then you'll be able to make a proper. You'll have You'll have all the information that you need to make a decision.
yeah.
And that's really what it amounts to. Is we want to make sure that you're making the most educated and well decision for you and your state. It's our value is to you, not to anyone else. So
Yeah, and I think like saying the valuable final product is another reason why you'd want to hire our company. Like our
Yeah.
valuable final product is clients who have preserved the wealth of their family's legacy
yeah,
and customers who've purchased items that improve their quality of life.
absolutely.
That is why we do what we do. And I think it's kind of a really beautiful thing because you are honoring two different communities in that.
Yeah.
It's a really neat purpose to be working towards.
Absolutely, and that is that like that's the core. That's the whole and everything emanates from that point, from
Yeah.
those two things. Preserving legacy and wealth, and the clients. I mean,
Mhm.
sorry, and the customers.
Customers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a few questions on here.
Yeah.
The first question is, what if you only have a couple of rooms of things you want to sell house? So I'll let you answer that one.
Oh, thanks.
I'm just kidding.
So in situations like that, I think just to get Aaron out for the console,
Exactly.
get him to see what's going on there. I mean, we've done 1-bedroom apartments before.
If they're, if they have the right value,
Right.
that makes sense, that we can actually provide you with a great service,
Yeah.
we'll help and we'll do your job. If we feel like we can't get your product,
We
sorry,
wanna-
we'll just let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just getting us out there, getting us to get our eyes on it.
Yeah.
We do a lot of selling in all sorts of platforms. We might have other ideas for you.
And there's a few people that we work with actually that we could refer you to. One just popped into my mind. If you have just a few rooms of stuff to sell, that they'll be able to help. But yeah, I would also just say send pictures would be
Yeah.
a great point as well. You can definitely send photos to our email address, which is aaron@aaronsestatesales.com. That would be totally fine. We have another question. We have 20 to 30 boxes of collectibles.
It's actually
The same.
it's Crystal as well.
Yeah. How are you?
Hey.
Thank you for being here with us. So 20 to 30 boxes of collectibles, but no household goods that we'd like to sell? Do you do anything with this type of stuff? It just depends on what the collectibles are.
Mhm.
A lot of times, depending on what it is, we'll refer you to our friends that do online auctions,
Mhm.
and they'll be able to actually pick up and just haul away, take everything, and then sell it online piece by piece.
Yeah.
So that's a great option for that. Sometimes, depending on what it is, like there's a collection of guitars that we saw a few months ago with like 100 guitars, and that might be a good option to do a consignment with us through another estate sale or a jewelry collection or things like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Julie says our volume is very low. I turned it up. Hopefully, I'm not blaring out eardrums, and I hope that you can hear us.
Let me see anything on my watch party.
Yeah. So we're going to go over a number 10, because I didn't write a number 10 on there, is our special present, is we are going to talk about the 2019 estate sale industry survey results. This is a survey of hundreds of estate sale companies that filled this out from across the country, and this is the statistical data of what is happening in the estate sale industry this past year, 2019.
Yeah.
This was a survey that was filled out early 2020, and so we're going to go through a few of these points, analyze them, talk about them. You guys can definitely give us your opinion on them through our comments,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And this is just a small portion. It's a very, very big book of industry survey results. So the first thing I have on here is, let's just do the first. The first one is what type of sales do you conduct? So this is some companies, 84% of companies said that they just conduct estate sales.
Estate sales only.
Estate sales only. 2% of them said that they do auctions. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then 14% said they do both. So it's probably more like the 14%. We also have an auction arm of our company, and then we also do estate sales as well. So we'd be in that 14% of what type of sales do you conduct.
Yeah.
Awesome. The next one that we have is estate sales your primary income source?
This one I found to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, this one's very interesting. So you have an estate sale company. Let's say you're a client
Yeah.
and you need an estate sale and you're calling estate sale companies. Only 49% of the estate sale, only about half of the estate sale companies that you interview, this is going to be their primary source of income, which means that 50% of the people that you interview are going to be doing this on the side as a side hustle, as a side gig, as like something to make some extra money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have other sources of income. It's not their primary source of income, which I found very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This estate sale company, Aaron's Estate Sales, is the primary source of income for about 18 people,
Yep.
and including myself. And so it's something that I found very interesting when about half of the people that our clients interview are going to just be doing this for extra, for some extra money.
Yeah. So you're working in the evenings.
Yeah.
Get some friends together for the sales on the weekend, that type of thing.
Yeah. It's just interesting. We're not going to go into whether that's good or
Yeah.
bad. We're just going to drop the information on you.
Yeah.
So this one was interesting too. On average, how many sales do you conduct a year? Now I know you've seen this already, but if I asked you this question, what do you think the average estate sale company, how many sales they do per year? What would the number be
I
that
would
you
think
would have given me?
I would have thought it would be in the, I would say 70s range. Just
Like
based
70
yeah,
estate
like
sales?
one every single week. A couple weeks where you're like, we got 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, 70 would be kind of where I put it at.
Yeah, mine I would put around 50, I guess, because I know I would say one, take Christmas off, people or one a week,
I forget people do that. Yeah.
Yeah, people are crazy. People do these holiday things. They take off their birthdays. Weird stuff out there. So the average estate sale company conducts 31 estate sales a year,
Mm-hmm.
which is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
How many estate sales? Do you know the exact number of what we did in 2019?
It was 157.
It was 149 estate sales.
Felt like 157.
Felt like 100. It felt like 400 estate sales. But
Maybe 200 at the max. There were a couple of them that pushed me
2020 will feel like 400 estate sales.
Because it will be
That's
400
right,
estate sales.
That's right. But so the average estate sale company does 31 estate sales a year. Last year we did, just for reference, we did 149 estate sales. So how many times is that? That's like 4 times as many.
More than that.
More than that? We did a lot of estate sales. And we're already like killing it this year.
Yeah.
So, does your company currently have a business license?
Ours does, yes.
Yeah. So if you are interviewing estate sale companies, 25% of the companies that you interview will most likely not have a business license. Just an interesting stat.
Yeah.
But 75% of them will. So that's awesome as
Yeah.
well. So just be aware, these are things that you should be thinking with when you're interviewing for an estate sale company.
Yeah.
So this one, there's a lot of debate amongst the estate
Yeah.
sale industry. The U.S. government does not debate it at all. But how do you report the majority of your workers' income? So this is, I would like to know, it doesn't say on there how many people participated, does it? This is not. But basically, how do you report the majority of your workers' income? 51%, half of the companies that you interview are going to be reporting through 1099, which is subcontractor.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever, you run our estate sales,
Mm-hmm.
you run our sale team.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to tell them what to do?
And managing people?
Yeah, do you have to tell your team
Oh,
what to
yes. That is the primary basis of my job.
do? Okay.
Yes.
And let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
Do you tell them when to come to work and when to leave work? Do you like tell them when they should be at work? Do you schedule them?
Schedule them. Yeah.
Are they expected to be here at a certain
Yes.
time? Okay. Yeah.
Then that's not an independent contractor.
Well,
Is that what you're getting at?
I'm getting at it. I got a few more questions.
All right, good.
Do they have to be at work at a certain time and
Yeah.
take breaks at a certain time and leave at a certain time
Yeah.
to come here? Great. Do they bring their own tools to the job, or are those tools supplied?
Those are supplied by us.
Those are supplied by who?
Aaron's Estate Sales.
Us. Yeah,
Yes.
us. Cool. Let's see. What other questions could you ask? Are they able to work outside of work hours on our projects without being supervised, or without on their own decisions, without telling us and without
No, I'll afford them some opportunity to do like little side projects of, making up signs and stuff like that, but that's at my discretion direction.
So our workers
Yes.
work for us, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So these are the questions, there's a list of these questions,
Yeah.
and they literally start with, do you tell your staff when to come to work and when to whatever? That's
Yeah.
the first question on the list. If you are asked these questions by, the IRS,
Mm-hmm.
then what will end up happening, and Daniel Sanders, who was probably on here, will give you the whole word about it, but basically, they can go back 5 years and assign your staff as W-2 employees. And if they do that, you are going to be responsible
For
for
them.
all the back taxes for those employees. You know how
Yeah.
right now, I pay half of the taxes, you pay half of the taxes, or whatever?
Yeah.
Now, what if I was just responsible for all of our staff's taxes for the past 5 years?
Sounds like a nightmare scenario.
It sounds like a nightmare scenario. So 50% of the 50% of the estate sale companies that you interview will be having their staff on 1099, which is subcontractors, not W-2 employees.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, 30% of people said that they don't even have staff. 30% of the people said, I don't have staff. And then only 20%, 19.74% said that they have W-2 employees,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazingly scary.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't make these rules. I just abide by them because I'm not interested in anybody saying, oh, actually, these people that you tell when and what to do
Yeah.
and you give them your tools are actually W-2 employees, and you owe me all their back taxes for the past 5 years. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that we went so long on this topic, but it's a
okay.
huge
Feel
point.
strongly about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, because it trickles into the next thing as well.
it does. Which the next thing is workers' compensation insurance. So how many percentage does it say that don't have workers' comp? How many percentage of estate sale companies?
So if you're including just the no aspect of it and they don't have staff, which I would include both of those, because
Yeah.
you're not running a estate sale one individual person.
That's true.
17% plus 30 plus 63% is going to get you 80% of
estate
the
sale
sale
companies
companies don't have workers' compensation
don't have
on
workers'
their-
compensation.
on people that are working inside your house.
Yeah, which is huge because if someone gets hurt carrying a dresser, because that's what the staff do, is they're supposed to help move things and move furniture and like crazy stuff, then and they're most likely not going to be covered on a standard insurance policy because they're your staff, so they need a workers' comp insurance. And so if someone were to fall down, let's say they break their leg, they fall down the stairs, they crack their head, they go to the hospital, and they have a $100,000 medical bill or a $10,000 medical bill, and they're going to sue Aaron's Estate Sales if we didn't have workers' comp, and also the homeowner that owned that home. So it's a huge what do you call it when there's like holes or like a huge liability point
Oh, yeah.
for people. We have workers' comp insurance, but to have workers' comp insurance, this is where it goes into the W-2, is that you have to have employees on payroll because workers' comp is determined on your payroll number, on your payroll total each year. So if you don't have workers on payroll, you can't have workers' comp insurance, and then you can't protect your clients or yourself from that issue. That's huge. 20%, the next one is 20% of companies that you interview are not going to have liability insurance. And that's just the regular insurance that helps with damage if someone else, like a customer, comes in and breaks something or hurts themselves. Liability. So that's a huge thing also. And usually you want at least $1 million policy on each home that you go into. 73% of companies said they do have liability insurance, so that's awesome. Well done. The next one is certified appraiser. Are you a certified appraiser? 20% of estate sale companies said yes, I am a certified appraiser. 7% said no, but I have one on staff. And then 43% said no, I'm not a certified appraiser. And then 30% said I hired an outside appraiser when needed. So those are all, you can definitely, you don't need to be a certified appraiser. It helps because you should be able to determine value and also know the definition of things like fair market value. And different things, especially when talking to your clients, especially when you go into a higher end home or a luxury estate, like you need to be able to have those certifications, absolutely. So only 20% said yes, I am a certified appraiser. So that's huge. Here's the next one. There's only a few more. Fees outside of commission. And this is something that we charge as well. We charge fees outside of our commission. We charge a commission, and then we charge just 2 other fees. So 55% of companies said yes, we charge fees outside of our commission. The largest fee that people charge outside of their commission is trash removal. Hauling, which you have to charge extra for, or else you're going to be, just wait. You can't afford to expand. You can't afford to hire people. You won't be in business very long if you're doing all the trash removal and dumping and everything, including
And eating dumpster costs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It adds up really, really fast.
Yeah, it does. One of the things that the next biggest thing, which is something we don't charge for, but 46% of these companies said yes, is that they charge for extra advertising. Or advertising on top of their sales. And there has been times when we've done like really specialty advertising, and we charge for that, but normally not. Professional cleaning, credit card fees is on there. Credit card fees is something that we charge for as well. And disposal, like chemical fees, and labor, which is the least one. Labor is usually one of the things that's included in a commission. So that's that. Awesome. So average time to set up an estate sale. What do you think about that number?
I can set up, hold on, let me think about this.
That's 9
6
days.
sales in that time.
6 sales in the time that it takes the average estate sale company to set up their sale. So the average estate sale company takes 9 days to set up an estate sale. Our average is probably 1.5 days to set up. Maybe 2 days when you include the quality control check and everything else that's gone into it. 2 days to set up an estate sale. So the last one that we have is unsold items. And what do you do with the unsold items when the sale is over? What do you think the least item, what is the least thing that someone will do on here?
Take back to a consignment shop.
Yeah, the least item is move them to another sale. Like, I know that companies will move one item to the next sale, to the next sale, to the next sale. You don't
It
want
just
to do
sounds
that.
like market burn and a lot of extra work.
A lot of extra work, and then you have different people's stuff at different people's houses, and it's getting all wacky, you know?
Oh, yeah, nope. And you're extending your sales cycle for your client too, like,
Yeah, you
the
can't
reason
pay
that
'em out,
you
you
do
can't-
like transition liquidation is to Transition, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get done.
So the most that people do with unsold items, which is what we also do, is donate items. And then the next thing is dispose of items. So what we do as part of our clean out is we'll take one load to trash. Anything that needs, we'll do multiple loads to trash if needed. And we'll do a load to donation and anything that needs to go to donation. A lot of people ask, do you like call donation companies to have them come? We used to do that, but what ended up happening was we'd run into situations where donation companies wouldn't take everything, or they'd leave the client with a bigger problem, or leave us with a continuous cycle. So we just kind of got rid of that situation by saying, no, we are going to haul everything to a donation company and say, take everything that you want, and everything else is going to trash. So that's it. That's what we're going to go. That's what we went over for the 2019 industry survey.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today. We know this one was a little bit longer than the normal, but we really appreciate you hanging with us and everyone that joined us on this. This is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for always tuning in, for, being a part of this fun, exciting industry and experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this year we're going from about 3 sales a week, what we're doing right now, to 10 sales a week. And we have an amazing, incredible staff. We have a training process that we're putting in. We're actually investing in a few more things in our company to be able to expand. But one of the things that you will always get when you hire Aaron's Estate Sales is me, and also Shannon. So you want to make sure that, even if we're doing 10 sales a week, you still have that access, you still have that ability, and we still want to work with you as a client and also our customers. I love our customers, and that's why we do these videos, is because I can't be at every sale, but I love them to watch and be able to interact with us every week.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And I might go out and see St. Clair Shores later. We have, how many sales running today?
We have 2 sales running today.
All right, cool.
So we've got Rochester Hills, which is up, Adams, just north of Walton. It's off a road called Powderhorn. It's right across from the big Rain Tree subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be on Winter Park Drive. I can't remember the number off the top of my head.
2777 Winter Park Drive. I don't know if that's correct, but
I think there's 2 more digits in there.
All right, it might be 7, so.
But luckily, Winter Park's just a circle,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you'll find it.
You'll find it.
But yeah, they've got lots of really good newer home furnishings, some sports memorabilia,
Yeah.
lots of good maybe kids stuff too.
Yeah.
Is out there,
There's a ton of great furniture left.
and they're 75%
Really?
off. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's gonna be intense.
Be lit.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit for sure. We're gonna sell out.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And then they've got St. Clair Shores is doing their 3rd day today,
Yeah.
and they're doing 12 to 4 at 50% off.
Okay, cool. I was gonna ask, yeah, because St. Clair Shores was like, don't go 75% off at St. Clair Shores.
See, and this is when we say that we make up, we figure out what the discounts are going to be,
Yeah.
at the ends of the sales days. This is totally.
Yeah,
Jim Vans are like, no, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
It's
Yeah.
1150.
Yeah, and it just depends on the sales. It's just Rochester Hills has a ton of stuff, and it needs to go. So we want to make sure that people move that product. So we'll do a bigger discount.
Yeah.
Where St. Clair Shores also needs to go, but it's a total different type of sale
It
that
is.
we can stick to 50%. We don't have to go all the way to just that yet on it. So we'll see what happens. We might add a Monday or
I was
Tuesday.
going to say, keep your eyes peeled.
Keep your eyes peeled,
Join the
but
mailing list.
yeah, join our mailing list. Man, our mailing list is going to get such a big overhaul at some point this year. That's all I can say on that. But we're working on a lot of things to bring you guys a lot of service, a lot of care, and we really look forward to going to 10 sales a week with you and growing this business. So thank you guys.